host an internet radio station. His name is Marcus Johnson. On the air, his show he goes by Marcus J. And he's got a show, he talks about issues. He's got other folks at his station that talk about issues. And I wanted him to come and speak to us about what are some of the ways where the media can be used to empower people and spread the message. And real quick, before he comes up, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge and take a second to, hopefully, I assume everyone has heard about the loss of Jack Gravely, and unfortunately loss. He was a great Richmonder and had done a lot for us and had done a lot for this particular issue, getting the message out there. So that is a great loss to us, to Richmond, and to this specific thing. So with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Marcus Johnson to come up. He's going to speak for about 10-15 minutes and then have about 5-10 minutes for questions. Like I said, we need to be thinking about how can we take our message and empower ourselves and spread it so that people know what we're thinking and know what the Crusades issues and policies are.
Good evening, everybody.
Yay! Good evening.
Allow me a few minutes to share my story with you guys. First of all, I'm not much of a public speaker. I'm more for radio. I'm used to talking to people behind the microphone, not in the room. So just allow me to work through a little bit of nerves. But I just wanted to talk to you guys tonight about empowerment through the media. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself and why that's important to me. I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey, and as a young person, I was always fascinated by the news. My mother and my father are people who always watched the news, always read the newspaper, and as a young man, I picked that up. That was something that I just kind of did. And one of the reasons why it was big to me is because I got a kick out of seeing pretty people on television. Handsome women, handsome men, pretty girls. They were always nice, dressed up, and they spoke well, and my parents always reacted to that. And I knew that as a young man, it was something to that. And of course, as a child, I didn't know the phrase media, I didn't know what that meant. I just knew the people on TV giving you the news, those were the people who were important. And so as I kind of made my way through the youth, that was something that was in the back of my mind. So when I came to Richmond, Virginia to go to Virginia Union University, that was something that I wanted to major in. So I went on a college trip to Washington, D.C., to BET, Black Entertainment Television. And once I did that, I had a chance to meet Donnie Simpson and some of the other personalities. Got to be on the set of Teen Summit and a lot of the great programming that they had at BET back in those days. And I was sold. My childhood dreams confirmed. I was sold. And then a few years later, BET got sold. It wasn't black owned anymore. It was owned by Viacom, which is a large conglomerate. And I'm now in my 20s, and I'm thinking, we went from having control of our images to no longer having control of our images. Now, someone else has control of our images, and they can show us whatever they wanted to show us. They could be any way, they can show us in any light they choose to do that. And that always stuck with me. Had an opportunity a few years later to start doing radio on my own. Had a friend of mine that asked me to be a partner with them. And I saw that as an opportunity to take back our images, at least on a small scale. That was kind of my introduction to empowerment through the media. Because at that point, I was a media. And I didn't have to wait for CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and all of these people to give me the news. I'm in the media now. I can create, or I can empower my people, the people, through the media. So this was when Legacy Internet Radio was born. And it started off as a radio show, one show, my show. And we broadcast it in my buddy's kitchen at his house. And we decided how important this was, so we grew the brand, and we kept on working, and we kept on empowering through our media, our thing. One thing that was important, we needed to have more than just a show. What was our purpose? Like, why are we here? What are we doing? And so we started doing things like profiling missing children, because that's important to me. It's something that's been important to me since I was a young person. When I telling me about a runaway bride. I don't, you know, with all due respect to her and her family, during that piece of time when she was missing, they were afraid, but she's not a child. Like right now in Richmond, right now, there's a ton of missing kids that most of y'all don't know about. I know that I don't know about all of them, but I can tell you that every single week on Ain't No Half Step on Marcus Day, I profile. I personally called the news station and I asked them, why aren't y'all on something like this? That was empowerment through the media. We're here in the Richmond Crusade of Voters because you guys know how important your voice is as voters. We need to know that our voice is important with regards to the media as well. You hold your politicians' feet to the fire. May not feel so powerful when we're talking about it on a national scale. But locally, you know the city council person. I'm sure someone in this room knows their council person personally. You know the mayor, you know him personally. You know the police chief. I was in a meeting with him 2 weeks ago. You know him personally. You have access to these people. This is empowerment through media. You have to know what your power is. You have to know how important it is for you to use your voice. You may not be able to do it again on a national scale, but certainly locally, this is something that we can actually do. It's unfortunate a lot because I see images on television. I mentioned earlier about BET being sold. And that really affected me because I realized that particularly us as black people, we aren't in control of how the masses see us. If someone is a college student and he rapes someone, and I'm speaking of a specific case, they get his yearbook picture and they put that on television for you to see. Because they're already framing in your mind what the deal is with him. But if you're a person that's unarmed and you're murdered in the street, they get your mugshot photo for that bag of weed that you had 10 years ago. That's the photo that they use for you as a victim. Framing the mindset. That's the power that they use in the media. A lot of times when you think about minorities, or I don't like that word, but I'll use it for the purpose of this discussion. You think about people who are not of the majority, let's just say it that way. You already have a preconceived notion of who they are. You think black folks, a lot of times you think of rappers and basketball players, and in a lot of cases you don't think of positivity. Some, not everybody, but some. You think of Mexicans, you think about somebody that might be a maid, or might be a laborer, or something like that. If you think about Africa, you think about Tarzan. You think about somebody from the Middle East. We all know when we think of those people. We also know that 2 billion Muslims in this world, if they want us dead, we'd all be dead already. It's the media. That's their empowerment in media. So what we do at Legacy Internet Radio and what we try to empower folks to do is know what their power is. Get on the phone, call them up. I'll give you another example of how I use my empowerment through the media. I was watching the news one day, and I saw a story of a woman who had her home had been robbed. And she called the police, and she's telling the story to the newscaster, and she's saying that it was a middle-aged white man that was dressed in painter's clothes, khaki pants, or whatever it was. And as she's telling the story, they're showing a video of a young black man peeping in windows. Now, I'm sure y'all can see why that's a problem. So I got on the one and I called them. They didn't take my phone calls, but I sent emails until somebody responded to me. And they responded, and they sent me an apology. And of course, you can't